The later years of Henry VIII's reign were marked by both triumph and tribulation. As he grew older, the king's health deteriorated, but his ambitions remained undiminished. The legacy he left behind was a complex tapestry of political and religious transformation that would shape England for generations. This chapter delves into the final years of Henry's reign, the brief rule of his son Edward VI, the tumultuous reign of Mary I, and the lasting impact of Henry. By the 1540s, Henry VIII was a shadow of the vigorous young king who had ascended the throne decades earlier. Years of physical exertion, injuries from jousting, and a persistent leg ulcer had taken their toll on his health. He became increasingly overweight and struggled with mobility, often relying on a wheeled chair to move around his palaces. Despite his declining health, Henry's political and military ambitions remained strong. He continued to pursue territorial expansion and sought to secure his legacy through his children. The latter part of his reign saw significant military campaigns, including the costly wars with France and Scotland. The capture of Boulogne in 1544 was a rare victory, but the financial strain of these wars left the kingdom deeply in debt. Henry's personal life also remained turbulent. His marriage to Catherine Howard ended in her execution, and his final marriage to Catherine Parr was a relatively stable union. Catherine Parr proved to be a capable and caring queen, providing comfort and support to Henry in his final years. Henry VIII died on January 28, 1547, and was succeeded by his 9-year-old son, Edward VI. Edward's reign, though brief, was significant for its religious reforms. The young king was heavily influenced by his Protestant advisors, including his uncle, Edward Seymour, who became the Duke of Somerset and the Lord Protector. Under Edward VI, the Protestant Reformation advanced rapidly. The Book of Common Prayer was introduced in 1549, and church services were conducted in English rather than Latin. The removal of Catholic images and altars from churches marked a decisive shift towards Protestantism. These reforms, while supported by many, also sparked resistance and rebellion. Most notably the Prayer Book Rebellion in Devon and Cornwall. Edward's reign was cut short by illness. In 1553, at the age of 15, he succumbed to tuberculosis. Before his death, Edward attempted to ensure a Protestant succession by naming his cousin, Lady Jane Grey, as his heir. This decision was contested, leading to a brief and tumultuous struggle for the throne. Mary I, the daughter of Henry VIII and Catherine of Aragon, successfully claimed the throne after Edward's death. Her reign, from 1553 to 1558, was marked by her fervent efforts to restore Catholicism in England. Mary sought to reverse the Protestant reforms of her predecessors and reinstate papal authority. One of Mary's most significant actions was her marriage to Philip II of Spain. The union was deeply unpopular in England, where fears of Spanish domination and the loss of national sovereignty ran high. Despite these concerns, Mary pressed ahead with her plans, and the marriage took place in 1554. Mary's attempts to re-establish Catholicism were met with both support and fierce opposition. Her reign became notorious for the persecution of Protestants, earning her the moniker Bloody Mary. hundreds of Protestants were executed, and many others fled the country to avoid persecution. These actions deepened the religious divide in England and left a lasting legacy of fear and resentment. Mary's reign was also marked by political and military challenges. The loss of Calais, England's last possession in France, in 1558 was a significant blow to national pride. Her efforts to produce an heir were unsuccessful, and her health deteriorated rapidly. Mary died on November 17, 1558, paving the way for her half-sister Elizabeth to ascend the throne. The reigns of Edward VI and Mary I were periods of intense religious and political turbulence. Edward's Protestant reforms and Mary's Catholic restoration created deep divisions within the kingdom. These years of upheaval laid the groundwork for the Elizabethan settlement, which sought to establish a middle way between Catholicism and Protestantism under Elizabeth I. The political landscape was equally tumultuous. The power struggles and shifting alliances that characterized Edward's minority and Mary's reign highlighted the challenges of maintaining stability in a period of rapid change. The Tudor dynasty's survival depended on navigating these treacherous waters with skill and determination. Henry VIII's legacy is a complex and multifaceted one. His break with the Roman Catholic Church and the establishment of the Church of England were among the most significant events of his reign, reshaping the religious and political landscape of England. These actions paved the way for the Protestant Reformation and set the stage for future conflicts and transformations. Henry's marital decisions had profound implications for the Tudor dynasty and the succession. His 6 marriages and the fates of his wives became the stuff of legend, reflecting the personal and political complexities of his reign. The birth of Edward VI and Elizabeth I ensured the continuation of the Tudor line, even as the quest for a male heir remained essential. The dissolution of the monasteries and the redistribution of church lands fundamentally altered the social and economic fabric of England. The wealth and power of the monasteries were transferred to the crown and the nobility, reshaping the landscape of land ownership and influence. Henry VIII's reign was also marked by his efforts to centralize and strengthen royal authority. His use of the Court of Star Chamber, financial reforms, and military campaigns all contributed to the consolidation of power. These measures laid the groundwork for a more unified and powerful monarchy, setting the stage for the future development of the English state. The legacy of Henry VIII and the subsequent reigns of Edward VI and Mary I left an indelible mark on English history. The religious and political transformations of this period were profound, setting the stage for the Elizabethan era and the further evolution of the Tudor dynasty. Henry's actions and policies continue to be studied and debated, reflecting the enduring fascination with this pivotal chapter in history.